everyone. I Dr. Namita Mishra, Faculty of Management Sciences from Tecnia Institute of Advanced Studies, going to deliver a lecture on concept and classification of cost. Let us learn about the cost and different types of cost. Concept of cost. According to the Chartered Institute of Management Account, cost is the amount of expenditure incurred on attributable to a specific thing or activity. Similarly, according to Anthony and Willis, cost is a measurement in monetary terms of the amount of resources used for some purposes. Cost has been defined by the Committee on Cost Terminology of the American Accounting Association as the foregoing in monetary terms incurred or potentially to be incurred in the realization of the objective of management, which may be manufacturing a product or rendering of services. Simply, from the above, it may be stated that cost means the total cost of all expenses incurred for product or a services. The cost of an article means the actual outgoing or ascertainment changes incurred in its production and sale of activities. In short, it is the amount of resources used up in exchange of some goods or services. The costs are monetary in nature. When we say prime cost or work cost or fixed cost etc., we want to explain a particular meaning of that, which is essential while computing, measuring or analyzing the various aspects of particular cost. Now, we will know the classification of cost or different types of cost. Classification of cost implies the process of grouping cost according to their common characteristics. As the cost accounting department are divided into cost centers, a proper classification of cost is necessary to maintain the cost with cost centers. Usually, costs are classified according to their nature, such as material, labor, overhead among others, and it is classified as per the need of the company. The above classification may be outlined as according to elements. Under this head, costs are classified into three broad categories: material, labor and overheads. Now, further subdivisions may also be made for each of them. For example, material may be subdivided into direct material cost and the indirect material cost, raw material, packaging material, consumable stores etc. This classification is very useful in order to ascertain the total cost and its components. Some classification may also be made for direct labor as direct labor and indirect labor, and other are the overheads. It includes all the indirect cost. Then second one is the according to the functions. The total costs are divided into different segments according to the purpose or objective of the company. That is why costs are grouped as per the requirement of the company in order to evaluate its functions properly. In short, the total cost include all costs starting from the cost of material to the cost of packaging the product. It takes the cost of direct material, direct labor and chargeable expenses and overheads under the heads of manufacturing and production cost. At the same time, administration cost, that is relating to office and administration, and selling and distribution expenses, that is relating to the distribution of expenses, are to be classified separately and to be added in order to find out the total cost of product. If these functional classifications are not made properly, true cost of the product cannot be accurately ascertained according to the variability. Particularly, costs are classified according to their behavior relating to the charge, increase or decrease in the volume of activity. These costs as per the volume may be subdivided into fixed cost, variable cost and semi-variable cost. Fixed costs are those costs which do not vary with the changes in output, that is, irrespective of quantity of output produced, it remains fixed, like salaries and rent etc. up to a certain limit. Now, we will know what is variable cost. Variable cost on the other hand are those costs which are vary proportionately with the volume of output. So, the cost as per the unit will remain fixed irrespective of the quantity produced. On the contrary, semi variable costs are those which are partly fixed and partly variable. such as we can take example repairs of building. Now we know how the costs are segregated as per the controllability. Cost may be again be subdivided into two broad categories according to the performance done by any member of the firm. They are controllable cost and uncontrollable cost. Controllable costs are those costs which may be influenced by the decision taken by the member of the administration of the company, or it may be stated that the cost which at least partly depend on the management and is controllable by them. Example, all direct cost and direct material, direct labor cost, chargeable expenses, etc. Now we know uncontrollable cost. Uncontrollable costs are those which are not influenced by the action taken by the member of the management, for example, fixed cost, rent of the building, payment for salaries, etc. Now I am going to explain you the cost division according to the normality. Under this condition, costs are classified according to the normal need for a given level of output for a normal level of activity produced for such output. They are divided into normal cost and abnormal cost. Normal costs are those costs which are normally required at the time of a normal production at a given level of output and which is part of production. Abnormal costs, on the other hand, are the costs which are not normally required for a given level of output to be produced normally, or which is not a part of the cost of production. Now we will know how the costs are segregated according to the time. Cost may also be classified according to the time element in it. Accordingly, costs are classified into historical cost and the predetermined cost. Historical costs are those costs which are taken into consideration after they have been incurred. This is possible particularly when the production of a particular unit or output has already been made. They have only historical value and cannot assist in controlling the cost. Predetermined costs, on the other hand, are the estimated costs, such as costs are computed in advance on the basis of past experience and records. Then I am going to tell you the cost classification according to traceability. Cost can be classified or identified with a particular product, process, department, etc. They are divided into direct or traceable cost and the indirect or untraceable cost. Direct traceable costs are those costs which are directly be traced or allocated to a product, that is, it includes all the traceable costs such as all expenses relating to the cost of raw material, labor and other services utilized which can be traced easily. Indirect or non-traceable costs are those costs which cannot be directly used or traced or directly allocated to a product, that is, it includes all the non-traceable costs, for example, salary of storekeepers, general administrative expenses, that is, which cannot be properly allocated or directly allocated to a product or to a department. So, a method of allocation is taken at the time of allocating the cost to the different departments. We will know the classification of the cost according to the planning and the control. Cost may also be classified into budgeted cost and the standard cost. Budgeted cost is referred to the expected cost or forecasted cost. Standard cost, on the other hand, is a predetermination of what actual cost should be under projected condition, serving as a basis of cost control and as a measure of product efficiency when ultimately aligned actual cost. It supplies a medium by which the effectiveness of current result can be measured and the responsibility for deviation can be placed. Standard costs are predetermined for each element such as material, labor and overhead. Standard costs include the cost per unit is determined to make an estimated total output for the future product for material, labor and overheads. The cost must be depend on the past experience and experiment and specification of the technical staff. The cost must be expressed in terms of rupees. Then we will know the cost classification according to management decision. Under this cost may also be classified as marginal cost or differential cost. Marginal cost is the cost of producing additional unit or unit by segregation of fixed cost. Differential cost are the cost that is used at the time of production, and there are different units of measurement as considered for the production process. Differential cost is that portion of the cost of function attributable to unidentifiable when an added a feature, that is the change in the cost as a result of change in the level of activity or method of production. Then we will know the opportunity cost. It is the prospective change in cost following the option of an alternative machine, process of raw materials, specification or operation. In other words, it is the maximum possible alternative earnings which might have been earned if the existing capacity had been charged to some other alternative way. Then we will know the replacement cost. It is the cost that at current prices in a particular locality or market area of replacing an item of property or a group of assets. Now we know the implicit cost. It is a cost used to indicate the presence of arbitrary or objective element of a product, cost having more than usual significance. It is also called notional cost. Interest on capital, although no interest is paid. This is particularly useful while decisions are taken regarding alternative capital investment project. Then we will know sunk cost. It is the past cost relating out of a decision which cannot be revised now and associated with specified equipment or other facilities not readily adaptable to present or future purposes. Such cost is often regarded as constituting a minor factor in decision affecting the future. These are the references used for the lecture. So, I hope you understand the topic of cost and classification of cost. Thank you very much.